Everybody, we must be one. Everybody, we must be one.
Hello, I'm Michaela, and this is part 3 of the one and only. We've covered many topics surrounding mental health, and I hope you've gained something from this so far. Remember to subscribe to the Hughes Roundtable on YouTube. Thank you for your support.
If you're going to be like Jesus, you want to be able to touch human beings. You want to be able to touch mankind. So what would make a person go to those thoughts and stay there? Especially at y'all's age. And what can we tell them to bring them out? What do they need to do?
Well, and I can only speak from my experience. I've never wanted to die, but I do understand that point when you hit like bottom and it's like, if this doesn't stop, I just want to die.
Right.
And I think there's delusion, there's denial, there's other words I'm looking for. There's lies in depression or anxiety, whatever, because you hit one of those before you commit suicide. You've hit one of those. There's so much going on with you when you hit those things, and you're so hurt that you don't see a way out besides dying. You don't see a value in life if you're going to keep hurting like this. Why would I want to live if this is how I'm going to live? I'm not living then. If you can't see a way out, then, and then there's an element of, and I talked to Mom the other day about this, there's at some point you've also decided that no one else can help me.
Right.
And the way that I see is the only way that is important. So you're not only delusional, but you believe your lies.
So are we afraid to bind
truth.
that up, though? Can we, have we come to the point to where we can bind our own self up, our own thought process up, or do we forget to do that?
Some people don't know to do it. Some people, okay, so there are some people who don't want to.
That's right.
Some people, I do believe that there are some people, if they knew a better way, and this is why I want to do the things I want to do, because there are some people that just don't have the resources to get the help they want. They're that confused. I do believe that some people are just in that much confusion and chaos that they don't know any other way. But even in that, there's still an element of delusion. Because things are just not rational the way they should be. But some people don't know how. Some people just won't. There's the element of stubbornness. Again, there's so much just wrapped up into one. But there's an element of stubbornness. Because when anyone is hurt, you just want the hurt to go away. And if nobody can help you figure out how to make it go away, then that's not making sense to you. There's a mark that's missed, and I always say that about this subject. There's just something you miss when it comes to committing suicide, where you have no value in yourself or any value in getting out of the situation you're in, and suicide is the only option. And then again, there's the element of not being sober-minded, which just makes everything more delusional and more irrational for you. So there's just a lot mentally that's going on, and people commit suicide for all types of reasons. It's not just mentally. There could be very physical things going on in your life that would cause you to do that. But all in all, I can't say that you just haven't given up. You just gave up.
Yeah.
You gave up on yourself. But I do believe and I was speaking on that in general about suicide, but for our age group, I will say we can't see clearly about value.
Yeah.
If you don't understand, I studied the topic in school in a few classes, and it's almost impossible for us to have the capacity to understand that value is not something that changes. It's very hard for us to grasp that. And because we kind of live in this era where everything that is right now is permanent, it's hard for you to go from step to step in your value. You want to be completely valuable right now, and you don't see that in yourself. So if I don't feel valuable now, I must not be valuable tomorrow, next month, or forever. And that is delusion. That is irrational. You cannot think like that. You have to find ways to think better than that. But when you don't understand the value of this world, you being in this world, or yourself, that is where you fall. When I went to counseling, that was the first thing my counselor told me. If you have an unworthy attitude about everything, it just jacks everything up, because you don't understand why should I carry on doing this? Why should I carry on living my life? Why should I see myself doing better if I'm not worthy of doing it? What is the point of me doing better if I wanted to? Because I'm not valuable. So why would I do it? And you may not think that you're not completely valuable. You may think you about worth $1 or, a couple cents. There's all types of ways you could be thinking. But the fact that you think you're incapable of at least gradually getting to a state of worth, that's a problem, because
it's a big problem.
Yeah, it's kind of just like you're just in this open space, and it's like, I don't know if I'm coming or you're lost. You don't know if you're coming or going, because, what am I here for? If I don't have any value, I might as well just go now. So
and they know that.
Yeah,
they know that out here in everything, in advertisement, marketing, human trafficking.
Yeah.
They know that there's low self-esteem. Might I add that they also know it is real high in males too. We know it's high in women of all races and creeds, but it's real high. It's fake in males. It's real fake because they strong, supposedly, some of them. But as we know, the mind ain't strong yet.
Yeah.
The mind has to get strong.
Yeah.
That's where they get, because we know as they think, so are they. You get the mind, you get the body. Everything else will follow. So
that's so true.
So value, because I was getting ready to ask you, value of what? But you explained
everything.
You explained it, and I'm like, oh, that's a train wreck.
Yeah.
Because if anything negative happens, you ain't gonna be able to get back up. You are literally walking in failure.
Yes.
Because if you fail one thing, you ain't gonna think you're gonna do
fail
nothing.
at everything.
Because we know that there's arrogance and cockiness. No, we say come right here in the middle.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, a problem with that is this world is becoming like, and I believe it is, they're setting you up to fail, period, anyway.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
You got to know value.
I think about when we were talking about that, saying some people haven't had the opportunity, if you've heard good things about yourself, even when you're going through and the place is dark, when we're talking about entertaining and your mindset, don't let the bad outweigh the good. Even if it's only been a little bit, your percentage of what you have heard about yourself may only be 10% of it good and 90% of it negative. You got to keep just that little bit that you heard that was good. Right. You got to keep repeating that to you. We have to brainwash ourselves sometimes.
You do.
To believe the things that are good.
Say that, wait a minute. Hold. Say what you just said again. To believe what?
To believe that what you heard about yourself was good.
Mm-hmm.
It is good.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to brainwash ourselves to believe just that 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, 90% is larger than 10%.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that 10% is going to overpower the 90%. And why do I say that? God only requires us to give him 10% of what we tithe goes to him. The 90% is left to us. But I believe that the 90% works out because of the 10%, because the 10% that we're giving is greater than the 90% that we have left over,
It's crazy.
because it's going to him.
Mm-hmm.
He can do more with that than we're going to be able to do with the 90%. So take that we have heard and keep repeating it. Entertain that
Yeah.
into the mind.
You have to work.
You have to work.
It's a job.
And that's
It
it's a
is.
job.
Yeah, you
and
have
that's
to
the
work.
only way. And if you don't do that, then like your father said, the brain is going to say, and the body and everything else is going to follow. So you have to tell it, that's not true.
Yeah.
And if you know the word, if you talk to God, then it basically it will work for both. The people that haven't heard anything
Mm-hmm.
good about themselves, that had to fight, was always told, you ain't never gonna be nothing, this is negative, you just like so and so and so and so, you ain't gonna amount to nothing, you wasn't never any good. That's not so, because God would not have created, he don't make no mess. He does.
Yeah.
He said he created man in his image. And I believe that for those people that God sends someone in the form of a human being or ministering angels, because there are so many people that are out there
Mm-hmm.
that probably thought that they were never going to be anything because that is what they were told.
Mm-hmm.
But you will find out that the percentage of those that usually are large and big like that are ones that it was a whole bunch of negativity told to them,
Yeah.
but they made it anyway. So they had to find the place, however the Lord was leading them, even if they don't realize that God was doing it. Somewhere along the way, goodness and positivity came into the mind, and they became great out of what they thought that they were going to be negative just all their lives, never become
Yeah.
anything.
You have to believe in yourself. You can't give up on yourself. Please don't. I'm tired of losing people.
And be patient.
Yes.
You freaking 23.
Yes.
For God's sake.
Please be patient.
I know it's a serious subject, and I know
Yes.
you lost the young man that you knew. You know.
Yeah,
You
we
know.
we want the world in our hands right now. Life just doesn't work like that.
For anybody.
And it's for a good reason. There's so much good in
What's
the journey.
reason?
There's so, I believe, I always think that the little things that I learned along the way in the process of things, those are the things I learned. But that I also think that there are just things that God wants me to know that, I would have never expected to be in the process as well. There are so many little things you will miss if you get it all right now. It's just, it just doesn't, life just doesn't work like that.
So how you know you learned it?
Not doing the same things again. I told Mom this the other day, I will never allow myself to be depressed again. And if God made me, or whatever the situation that led to me being depressed, if it had to happen when I was in middle school, so be it. It was crazy. Oh well, the timing was weird. I was a kid, but, I know I'll never let it happen again. And I get sad, and it seems like, like I get in denial about things because I'm a human being, but I'll never let myself get depressed that again. I'll never be that depressed, because I learned, what it's like and how it affects other people and how it affects yourself, and, the things that it leaves with it. You have to unlearn things as well when you go through stuff like that. You know that you learned something when you don't let yourself do it again. And
So
when you
Go ahead.
you just find ways to build yourself up from there.
Can you speak on a little bit about sabotage by your own hand?
Oh God. I feel like sabotage is just you're just working in complete denial about something.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you're
Why? Why is
because you
that
believe
done?
that your way, and Mom told me this a couple of days ago. Sometimes you're just stubborn and you think that your way will. It's a little bit of insanity. Sabotage. There's a little bit of insanity there. You feel like your way. If it's not working now, maybe it'll work later. I don't know. You know.
Yep.
You know, and we're all human,
Right.
and I feel like most people have in small, or I've done it in relationships where I felt like I've sabotaged other people. I've felt like I've sabotaged myself with opportunities and just timing, and just outlook, period. Fear has been my cross to bear. And it's been my only, the only thing. And I wouldn't wish the things I felt on anyone, but I am still grateful that, you know, I've never dealt with any serious trauma,
Right.
or I've never seen anything really harmful, you know, things that I just can't get out of my mind. So I'm grateful for that. But fear has been my thing, and you will just deny. You will really sit there and just deny that this is really happening, so that you can be. Mine has been for comfort. Like you will, and then when like y'all have told me, you know you're in denial, and then when you realize and you're like you're right, and you cannot like just not admit that something is happening because you want to be comfortable. Or, you know, some people are very arrogant and they just will not listen to other people, you know, or you just really, or the people are spiteful and they'll just do things just to say that, you know, they did them, and they want it to be people power trip and they want to be right. And it kills them.
Yes.
But
that's the one I see the most.
That's y'all.
Yeah.
This and I just want it out there because I know we wanna speak on what it looks like, and that it's normal, first of all.
Yeah.
So once we call it out, now we know that it's happening. Because see, what we want to do is we want to tell about denial. We want to tell about all these words, delusion, and all of that, so we can learn, so we won't have to do it again.
No.
Because you're doing all this to think that you're gonna succeed, but it's not. Because at the bottom, at the end of the day, it's still gonna take some work. You still may have to crawl. You still may have to. How are you gonna put yourself in a situation to learn? That's why I wanted you to speak on just what it looks like.
Yeah, it takes sabotage takes all types of forms, and I think it depends on your character. It depends on what's already inside of you, the way it looks, the way it comes out. But yeah, people do it all the time, and we all make mistakes, but nobody wants to keep going through, you know,
Hopefully.
sabotage over and over and over again when you could be in a much better place. But being successful, and all of those things takes time, and it takes effort and work, just like your mental health. You have to find out what success looks like to you personally, just like you have to figure out what your emotions look like to you personally and who you are personally and all of that. You know, everything begins to be on a personal level, or it should be, to me.
I have a question, because I'm thinking about how they say, while it's combined with mental health and we're talking about arrogance, how they tell people when they're doing say it's a homicide, and they say premeditated murder. In the form of sabotaging, is it done more so sometimes unknowingly because of fear, or is it thought out like a homicide would be, and they say we're locking them up because this was premeditated murder, because basically that's what sabotage is. You can compare it with murder.
I am dealing with this with someone now, and I think I told you some of the situation, but there are people who are spiteful by nature. They're like, they do things that are just in them. It's instinct. They don't think, like, you thought about it, but to do something good never crossed your mind.
Jesus. My God.
Because that's just your character. Like, and that's what I
Yeah.
mean, that they're when someone, like, let's go with your example. When I think of someone who has murdered people, multiple, a serial killer, let's go with that. That is a different type of mindset. That's your state of mind is just different. Like, to even the audacity to kill someone continuously, like, your mindset is different. Now, if you look at just everyday life, we all have different norms for us, you know, like what's normal for me may not be your norm. And so, you know, your thought process, your everything you think about, there's norms in that. There's even the way that you think, that's a norm for you, and it may be not normal for someone else. So with sabotage, when I say you talk about your thought process with sabotage, you may have thought about it, but your first instinct may have been to think in denial, because that's just the way you are.
Yeah.
That's just the way, you know. So yeah,
It's fear too.
yeah.
It's fear because there's a team. I'm not gonna say their name, and I'm not gonna say where they at. When they start winning, they start doing stupid stuff, jumping off sides.
It's crazy.
And every year they stay 5-10, win 5 games, 10. And every time success gets ready to come, they start doing the stuff that they habitually did back 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago,
fear. That is
up
fear.
until now. So when you get ready to succeed, just like a male or a female got a good man, but Slick Will back in the day dogged them out so bad, they get this good guy.
And they be like,
keep
why are you so
jacking him
nice?
up.
I don't think I want
They
to be
keep
with you because you're
jacking
too
him up.
nice.
So now we're walking in all that stuff,
Yeah.
denial and all of that. But if you don't clear that out, you'll never see the greatness on where you could go, where you can ascend, and all of that. You will always sabotage it.
Yeah, because from what I've been taught and just knowing myself and people in general, it don't take long to start a habit.
It don't.
I think we all have like the capacity to be addicted to something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're creatures who like to have habits. Habits make us feel comfortable, I think.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever habit you choose, it's gonna stay. Like, it's not going anywhere unless you work to change it. And it's interesting because you can get into the form of doing something so quickly. It doesn't take long. And it's sometimes harder to unlearn what you taught yourself.
Well, you work yourself out of it. What ends up happening is, once you identified it, I know what I'm talking about. You work yourself out of it, because what ends up happening is, okay, say you keep sabotaging this little bit over here. Okay. But what ends up happening is, some kind of way, I'm going to work myself out of that over here to end up pushing that back. And you keep doing these things to success, and that just ain't going to go with this success up here. I was 17, 18 years old, living in a different state doing it in California, just tearing stuff up. But and then I went to the military, did it in the military, until finally I gave it all up. I said, well, maybe somebody else is right. Maybe they know what they talking about. As a matter of fact, they told me that. They told me they had been around for 100 years. They ain't going nowhere, and you will fall before they was. Look what I had done. Surely I'm gonna beat you. Surely. But that wasn't the case. They tore my little butt up, broke me straight. Ain't take but 2 weeks, by the way.
Wow.
Just tore me up. And then they built me back up. Then I was able to see. Just opened all up. The whole state of California opened up. I was able to see water. I was able to see authority. I was able to see all these people up above me. And I took off like a lightning rod. Ain't been the same since. Yeah. So you realize, and that's what happens. You just keep working and working as you keep growing. You keep getting older, and you work that Sabbath, that way of thinking and doing. You work because you stop being afraid of success.
Yeah.
You understand what success looks like. You just stop being afraid. That's all. You just stop being afraid. You just stop being afraid. You stop being afraid of success, and you stop being afraid to fail. Ain't that something? See, this is the complex of a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old and a 19 and 18 and 17. Here I go. It's all right. Sunday, he said it was. You okay?
That statement is so interesting to me. It's so simple, so true.
Give yourself a little moment. I grew up listening to songs like that.
And it's just like,
start putting them type of songs in your
much.
spirit.
It's you do too much, and then you just realize, oh, I am okay. Just calm down.
Yeah, calm down.
Just calm down.
And start binding yourself up.
Yeah.
You people out there, bind that nonsense up and keep going. It don't take but a quick little second.
Please don't
be
stop.
afraid to stop binding yourself up. Bind yourself up.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to bind yourself up. Shut on up.
Yeah.
I bind you
quiet.
up in the name of Jesus. A higher authority that's way higher than you. You know, the name that is above every name.
Yeah.
That is Jesus Christ. That's what we do. This is how I've made it in my walk of salvation. Because I was getting hit. Everything that I did from my past was tearing me up. Since I was wild as a daggone bobcat running around in the mountains, I had all those memories, all that exposure to all that darkness. You know what I'm saying? I had to bind it up. I wouldn't have made it. No way. No way. So you bind it up, people out there. Bind it up. And if you ain't no believer, talk to somebody.
Please.
Talk to somebody. I don't care if your relationship is not where you want it to be in Christ. If you a believer, you got to bind things up, rebuke things that are in you. If you're not a believer, talk to somebody that knows and have been through what you've been through. Talk to somebody.
It's so important.
Talk to somebody. Find somebody, especially that you can trust, that won't tell your business, that won't take you for granted, that won't use it against you. Please be careful, because that ain't going to do nothing but make it worse. Because people forget that you can't be with somebody 24/7. It's an individual thing. And if you don't build yourself up and get mentally strong on your own, and me and Nina was with Michaela when she dealt with depression back in those days, and we couldn't help her.
No.
There was nothing. There's nothing more worse than a parent that loves their one and only child, and they cannot help her. All we did was kept trying to tell her how to get through it. She had to walk through it on her own.
And that's why what is said and what is done is so important, because Michaela and I was talking about it yesterday, and I've already spoke about it a little bit. But hopefully the good that you have heard, that you can let that outweigh, because there has to be a glimpse of hope somewhere.
Yeah, it does.
There's got to be something that has been heard or seen that says what I'm feeling, what I'm hearing. Yes, you're feeling depression, but on the other end of it, while your mind is doing what it's doing, what do you know to be true about you? What have you heard that is something, even if you don't see it, because like I was telling Michaela, what we said and what we say is not to make you feel good. What we say and how we done was in order for you to believe and know who you are. Because a lot of times you don't see yourself, obviously, as others see you. You don't feel what people are saying about you because it hasn't caught up to you yet. But other people can see it. So when they say things that are good and wonderful, believe that. And to those out there that have not had the opportunity for someone to speak into your life, to tell you that you are worth anything and that you're never going to be anything, don't believe the lies that are said to you, because God doesn't make any mistakes. He created you, and sometimes we have to fight to get to the place of what people are saying. So you are valued, you are loved, and though the journey may be rough and rocky, you have something to offer that God has placed inside of you. And sometimes when greatness is going to come out of someone, sometimes that is the struggle and the fight to get to it, is that you have to know that because you are struggling and because you are fighting to get where you know that you should be, and sometimes it may even seem like it's something that is not obtainable, but that is a lie, because when it comes, you will know that that is what the fight and struggle was all about, in order for you to get to your purpose and your place where you are able to help someone else like only you can, because you have been to a place where they are, and they will need for someone to be able to speak to them authentically about a place that they had been in that was dark. And you'll be able to say that you made it. And for you to come out of what you were in, with all the struggles, with all the naysayers, with all the negativity, whether it be from mother, father, professor, cousin, brother, sister, husband, wife, whoever the negativity is coming through, you are able to make it. Now, you have to repeat those good things to yourself until it starts coming where you can see, I feel a little better, I'm doing a little better. And when it gets dark again, because that's a part of life. We're up and down with the way that life does sometimes. We're going to take hits. There's going to be falls. We have to dust ourselves off, get back up, and keep on going, because we have a place that we need to be.
Any closing remarks? That was good, man.
Thank you.
Straight from the Lord.
So encouraging.
You got anything else?
I don't.
You want to tell anybody else?
No.
Anything else you want to share?
Have hope in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe that you have purpose. Find good outlets. And please talk to people around you. People are here. We're all here for each other. I just believe in that. So we are. We're all here. Why would there be so many people on earth if we weren't, interact with other people, please. Reach out. Don't just sit in your feelings, and please believe in yourself. That's all I have to say. Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. Never give up.
Yeah, y'all don't give up.
Please.
Thank y'all so much for listening. Y'all can reach us on YouTube. That was pretty heavy episode, but we wanted it that way, and we wanted to interview Michaela basically, and so we can talk to younger people, younger than us, and if you listen to this and you need to talk to somebody, y'all got our information.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got our phone numbers. Y'all can leave comments on the YouTube channel we got, and everything else like that right there. Y'all take care out there.
Please
Thanks for
do.
listening.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Bye.
Everybody We must be one. Everybody